Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another one of these interview episodes of the SWW show. If we edited this correctly, actually, this should be your second episode of the week because we're talking about a game that is like launching and all of that fun stuff. And for some reason, they want interviews out when game launches and all that fun stuff of press stuff. Anyway, I'm Mike, and I have with me two special guests. I guess start with Vivian. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves and kind of talk about the game we're here to talk about? Like, what's the game and all that?
Yeah, we're the developers at SWW Games. My name is Vivian.
And my name is George. Our game is called Kungfu Cowboy, and so we're calling it a roguelike shooter platformer. So our inspiration for the game was we enjoyed old school run and gun shooters that were really hard, and we enjoyed bullet hells. But then we felt like those two genres were a little bit outdated and kind of falling out of the mainstream. So then we wanted to make like a modernized spin on those genres. So we added the directional shooting and then the headshotting capability. And another way that we attempted to modernize the genres was usually in those type of games, it's about shooting a bunch of very weak bullets, and it's more about like landing a large quantity of very weak bullets and just trying to survive. So we changed it up. We made it more about landing precision headshots and then landing fewer bullets. And then when we play tested it, that was most people's favorite part about the game. So that's where our inspiration came from. And then with the roguelike aspect, getting different buffs each run you go on, and then the procedural generation to add replay value.
And we also have multiplayer. I think that's like
the
biggest part.
Yeah, that's our biggest
of our
team. For being a team of, my understanding is like two. It's kind of massive to be like, yeah, and we just have working multiplayer when like. I'm gonna be honest, two people getting a game out that just functions is usually impressive. When you guys are forgetting you have multiplayer, you're like, that's not a selling point. Like there's other people to play with or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
I was like, wait, you mentioned our multiplayer because that's what like our players have been so excited about because
I forgot about that.
We play a lot of roguelikes, like Spelunky,
Dead Cells.
Yeah, and
Spelunky has multiplayer.
Oh yeah, Spelunky has multiplayer, and like that's what got me into roguelikes is it's such a hard game, and it's nice to have someone to play with.
And there's so many roguelikes that I loved, like Dead Cells, Isaac. I mean, Isaac has multiplayer, but like that's not really multiplayer because being the second player is like really bad. But like there's so many roguelikes out there that I love, but they're all single player, and then like or they don't have online co-op, or like. So, some of my friends would say like, oh, like certain roguelikes you can play with a friend, but then like, what happens when your friend is not available? So then that's why we included matchmaking too.
So let's kind of walk through the obvious thing here, which is the immediate concern a game like this is balance, and especially because like obviously multiplayers, I think I would argue the biggest selling point for at least a game like this is if I'm a player and kind of going through this game myself versus a friend, should I expect a completely different balanced experience, or is it just kind of like you're like, oh, you can play it yourself, but really should be playing with other people?
Oh no, so yeah, the difficulty will scale based on how many players are playing. Yeah, so basically what will change is the difficulty, but then the experience will be about the same. Like the the bosses, the enemies will be the same, but then they'll have like different amounts of health and like just different amounts of health mainly.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because especially being two of you, again, there's a, I don't know if I don't think I fully expect you guys to be like, and we're changing completely AI, because obviously there's two of you, right? So that makes sense, kind of. Because obviously I think that is I'm primarily a lot of times spending the game. Like I'll play single player games, so like something like a roguelike. It's like, oh, I have 20 minutes, go hop, play a roguelike type game. And
Uh-huh.
the obvious concern would be like if I don't have people around, even with matchmaking, to kind of play those games with them.
Yeah.
So one of the other things, and obviously could go to either of you then, is it being a roguelike and your whole thing is like upgrades throughout the experience, right? Because roguelike, you want
Yeah.
to be able to get better at them.
Yeah.
How has that process been of finding the right balance of skills for the player that they just naturally acquire as you get better at a game versus skills that the player acquires because they're playing the game?
Oh, okay. Wait, I'm sorry, I didn't really understand.
No, that's
Do you
fine.
mean
So
like,
can we kind of talk about kind of like that balancing? How's that balancing act been, and what can the player kind of expect? Like how do you kind of lean? Did you lean it more towards like I think Dead Cells is more of the side of the player unlocks things like a progression side, where like Hades, like I think a lot of like all the skills or whatever like kind of just happen naturally throughout playing the game.
oh, okay. Yeah, so in our game, the like we didn't want our game to be grindy, so then in terms of that, all the buffs you get throughout your run, it happens more like Hades, where they don't stay. There's no like tree that you permanently unlock. Because another reason why we didn't go with the skill tree that you upgrade after your character dies and stuff is because if there's online matchmaking and then you matchmake into your first game and then the other guy is maximum level and like super powerful, he's just gonna beat the game for you the first run. If he's like super overpowered, so then that's gonna ruin your experience. So then, in terms of buffs and power of the character, it's more like Hades in that direction. Like everyone restarts from the beginning, every run. But then there are stuff that you permanently upgrade. Uh, you get as you get EXP, you unlock new weapons. But then we try to balance the weapons so that no one weapon is more powerful than another. Like if one has a strength, then it'll have another weakness. So then you don't really climb up; you just move sideways for a different experience.
I guess both do. Then do either of you guys have a favorite weapon that you guys try to play with, or do you both try to like balance it around?
Everyone will have like a different favorite. Like
I think
what do you like? Which one do you like?
Like last year when we made the throwing knife, I was like, wow, like I don't think this will be good in a fight, but it's actually really fun. And I like to change around weapons. Like sometimes I like just a regular revolver, but sometimes I like the Winchester because it has you got headshot enemies with like one kill, so it's fun using that. We also have like a fart gun, a fart pistol.
It does poison damage.
Yeah, so that one's really fun.
That one like does damage over time. One of those type of weapons. And then we try to make it so that every weapon, after you beat the game, you can try it again with a different weapon, and you'll feel like you're playing a slightly different game. Like you could go a different build. The different weapons have different buffs that don't show up on other guns. Like one example is and then we try to make sure the weapons encourage you to play a certain playstyle that makes that weapon more fun to play. So, for example, we have a sniper type of marksman gun, and then that gun, one of its main buffs is called long shotter, and then it makes you do more damage the longer distance your bullet travels, because that really fits like what like we stereotypically think of a sniper, and then that makes sniper gameplay more fun. And then and it has another buff called ground shotter, which is where you do more damage while you're grounded. And then on the revolver, it'll get a different type of buff that appears, which is called air slinger, where you do more damage when you're airborne. So then with the revolver, we encourage gameplay where the player's jumping around, flying through the air, and shooting while in the air. And then with the sniper type weapon, we encourage more like kind of like marksman type, a little bit more campy gameplay because it suits the gun. So all the buffs, the reason why we went with different, we would let different buffs show up in the shop on different guns is because we wanted the player to feel like they were getting a different experience. We even have like a buff that only shows up on the boomerang, which is like it does it increases the damage when the boomerang's coming backwards. Stuff that you wouldn't see you would never see that on the revolver.
That's very interesting. So I want to jump on that then. So obviously, I think a good chunk of these games in general, and your guys' game, is some level of like unique twist. So obviously, I think the weapons for you guys is that unique kind of little thing. Where do you guys get inspiration from this kind of stuff? Is it like you just go watch old westerns? You're like, this seems like a fun thing. Are you guys like trying out some things? Like, where is this kind of like ideas of different weapons coming from?
Oh, ideas of weapons?
I think we just think of weapons, and then sometimes like we have our Discord where members can like leave like suggestions, and sometimes we get some of their suggestions too. So it's really just we just think of it along the way.
And then we also think of at first we wanted to go with the kind of like the stereotypical cowboy or like kung fu fighter type of weapons, but then we started experimenting with weird weapons like the fart gun and whatever, and then people really liked that. So then we started trying to go like more weird. And then during our early access launch, we'll be coming out with new weapons. And then all the new weapons we're going to be prioritizing just like more in terms of the weird side, like not conventional weapons.
Yeah, because we came out with because we had an itch prototype, and then we had the fart gun in there, and then we had some YouTubers and streamers play it, and then whenever they see the fart gun, they kind of laugh. I'm like, okay, like
yeah, that's what we need. Yeah,
we want people to laugh because our game it sounds funny. It's called Kungfu Cowboy, and then you have a fart gun. You're running around.
Yeah, I don't think I established. That is an amazing name that I don't understand how people have not taken. That feels like one of the game's names. I'm like, this game must have been taken 20 years ago. How does no one have this name?
Right?
Yeah. There's like an indie movie with this name.
No, but I don't think they even came out with it.
It didn't even release.
It's never been made.
So, yeah, we wanted it to be, when you hear the name and you see the cover art, like we want your first impression to be, what? That just sounds wrong. Like in a funny way. Like that sounds so stupid. Like we want that to be the reaction. Like that sounds so goofy, or like like we and like our name of our studio that we picked, Soy Boy Games. because Soy Boy is like a diss. Usually online you call someone we were vegans for a bit, and then we thought the
tofu mascot.
Yeah, so we thought like online people, when they diss each other, they want to call someone weak, they call them a soy boy, and then we just thought like it's such a funny name because it rhymes and stuff. So we want the whole vibe of our like company and the game to be all like silly, and then like kind of people will think like it's a joke, but then we want the game to be fun too. But then we want the name of the company and the name of the game to set the tone that like this game is supposed to be silly.
Yeah,
like, it's not a serious like
quirky, funny stuff that will happen in the game.
Yeah.
So we've obviously now talked about there's fighting. There's other things, like we talked about other things. What other moments do you think really stick to people when they like sit down and play the game for the first round? Like obviously a fighting gun, as I keep saying, is a very memorable thing. Are there any others you guys think really stand out to get like that theme across in your game?
Oh, for the theme?
Yeah, like this. You're talking about like this I think of it like comedy cowboy, which is probably not the right term, but it's very much that.
Well, there's without revealing too many spoilers, there's some NPC. So, on the second level of all of your runs, one random NPC will appear, and then usually you'll have to fight them, and if you beat them, then they join your side and they accompany you through the rest of the run. Like the reason why we added this NPC mechanic is because if players aren't match made with anybody and they're playing by themselves, we wanted to just kind of feel like you have a companion, like you're not really playing alone, even though it's an AI. But some of them, their abilities are just really silly. I'll give you an example. There's one NPC that's a belly dancer, and then we purposely programmed in this mechanic where if you tap left right, if you go left right really quickly, it looks like your character is dancing in a really dorky way, and then our community, when they saw it, they really liked it. So
oh yeah, it's in our trailer too.
Yeah,
you'll see the belly dancer, and then you'll see 4 of us kind of just like dancing, moving sideways, and then she'll drop some coins that you could pick up.
Yeah, and the way we were inspired to do this is for the viewers that have played Dark Souls before, when people are online, there's a common way to troll where you just keep shielding nonstop, and then your character looks really silly, and then it looks like they're spazzing out. But I thought that was like the funniest part of Dark Souls when you play it online. So I wanted to include something like that in our game, and then that's why we have the kind of the little dancing, trolling mechanic.
Interesting, just little stuff like that, and that's just generally speaking, whenever we talk about game development too, it's always that like little things of that, like people like, why is it like it's a bunch of little touches like that one, and that's something that I like. You pulled it from Dark Souls, you're like, yeah, like the troll, like the thing where people can troll each other. How do we make people troll each other in our game?
Yeah, and it was funny because when people were playing the game, so our boss battles, the way that they play out is the boss approaches from the left side of the screen, and then the camera starts auto scrolling. So the game is not an auto scroller, but during the boss fights, the camera starts auto scrolling, and then the boss does a bunch of attacks, and then there's like treacherous platforms that you have to run through and not fall off while fighting the boss. But so a funny thing that some of our players started doing was they would, in the middle of all that platforming, which is really difficult, they would start doing that dance for like 5 seconds to show off. Kind of like what's it called? Like, like it's like I see it as the equivalent of like if you're about to win a race, like you kind of slow down on purpose just to show how much ahead of everyone else you are. So people like on the middle, when they're on a platform that's falling down, they'll start like going left, right, and doing that dance really quick for like 2 seconds, and then jump off last second, and then like a lot of people had fun with that silly dance.
Imagine. So let's kind of jump in as we're kind of saying too. So we're talking. Your game is about to go in early access, and then hopefully when this launches, you're like just launched in early access. We kind of started before we started recording. How mentally ready are you guys for this game to be launched generally in the public?
We are a bit nervous, but we are also confident because we actually had a few streamers and content creators play our game, and they actually enjoyed it. So we've gotten good feedback even now, just a few days before launch, and we have like an active community on Discord who's like really excited about the game because they've been waiting since last year when we had our prototype.
Yeah, and actually we had a pretty good reception with some streamers and YouTubers for our prototype too. So
yeah, even just the prototype alone, people loved it. So if they like the prototype with just one level, they will love our early access release, which has way more content, and it has online multiplayer and matchmaking.
Yeah, and during our early access, we're working on. We'll spend most of the early access time working on our PvP mode, and then because roguelikes, after you beat them, well, this is how I feel. This is my personality when I play roguelikes, and I think a lot of people are like this. After you beat a roguelike, you might want to do a few more runs with a few different weapons or few different builds, but the challenge kind of ends there because you conquered the game. So the reason why we're working on PvP as the next step is because we want, end game content that just keeps getting more and more challenging because other players always get better. That's why we decided to work on PvP during the early access.
That's I guess that makes sense. I just didn't think of PvP as an eventual outlet. Obviously, like when you play with friends, you always want to go do PvP, but I didn't think of it as like that kind of thing. So obviously, that's kind of your big things happening in it. Are there any other big? I'm assuming more weapons coming in early access, more monsters, stuff like that.
more weapons, and then we wanted to like add more levels too.
Yeah, more buffs.
Yeah.
More enemies.
And then I don't know if I see it here. And I think when we talked, I saw it. Do you guys have a rough timeline of how long you guys expect to stay in early access versus being a full release?
Till the end of the year?
Yeah, that's our estimate. At least until end of the year, because we are currently developing the PvP, and we need to, that takes a while too.
Yeah. And then with our decision of what we're going to release during the early access, we're going to release the PvP with matchmaking too, and then the PvP, because of the way we're doing it, we're not doing a battle royale, but the format will be kind of battle royale style, where everyone matchmakes into the game, and then as soon as you die, you can just leave. Like, you don't have to wait till the end of the game. That part of battle royales we really like. But then because of that, it'll be on we're going to make it on a dedicated server, because you can't have P2P style with host type gameplay, multiplayer gameplay if you're doing a battle royale. It has to be on a dedicated server. And then after we release that, we're going to see which one most of our community likes better. If they think our PvE is better, then we're going to focus more on the PvE. If they're happier with our PvP, then we're going to focus more on the PvP. We're going to let them decide what gets developed further.
Of kind of seeing where the community wants the game to go, and it's all being developed. Otherwise, I'm trying to think of anything else. I don't know if I see it listed. Do you guys have a price that the game is going to be available for as it comes out?
Yeah, we decided on $9.99, and then we're running a discount. I believe 15% discount the first week of launch.
Perfect. And then that game is Steam. Is the early access build going to be on itch also, or are you guys just focusing on your Steam version right now?
No, it'll only be available on Steam, and we have so it'll be Windows and Mac.
Yeah, and then also our multiplayer component, the matchmaking is done through Steam servers, so
right now is what that means.
Yeah, we have to, it only works through Steam, so we can't sell it anywhere else.
Perfect. So then we'll expect 2 to 3 months you get it working on some mystical device, and it goes on Switch. I'm glad we understand how game development works in a very quick and rapid cycles.
That's what we really want to do, because everyone that tried it, they said, "Oh my god, this will be perfect on the Switch." They're like, this will be perfect on Switch, especially since Switch players, a lot of them are more open to platforming games.
Yeah.
And especially if we add in local co-op later on, it'll be really attractive for the Switch. But then we will have to figure out how to do the multiplayer matchmaking without Steam. But then, as we get better with the dedicated server, maybe we can make the Switch's PvE also use the dedicated server instead of using Steam for matchmaking. And then at that point we could probably get it on the Switch. Because we really want it on the Switch too.
Yeah, for sure.
It would fit relatively at home there. I think from a genre point of view, even a look. I think right now everything I read is Switch is still the indie machine right now. Obviously, there's a bulk of games released on it every week, but it very much is the of the big platforms, it's the home for them in the current moment.
Yeah, we agree. All our playtesters said the same thing too.
Yeah.
Right. So let's see. Is it? As we said, the game is Kung Fu Cowboy. You guys are Soy Boy Games. If people wanted to go check out the game or anything else about you guys, where do they go? Twitter, Discord, any of that fun stuff?
So our Twitter is @SoyBoyGames. And then if you go on Steam store, just type in Kung Fu Cowboy and you'll find us there.
And then Kung Fu is one word, and then Cowboy is a separate word. So make sure there's a space between Kung Fu and Cowboy.
All right, it's Kung Fu Cowboy. Is that better? Is that kind of perfect?
Oh no, you read it fine. I just want to make sure the viewers don't type it in as one word.
So if they're very confused, look at the title of this episode, people. It's really it's gonna be in front of your eyes. Use that as your reference point. As long as I copy it correctly. We'll see. Maybe I'll mistype it and it'll be fine. Perfect. Well, guys, thanks for taking time out of your busy day to talk to me right before the game comes out, and best of luck on your launch week.
Okay. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Thank you. We appreciate this.
This episode is partially brought to you by the Humble Choice program. Did you know Humble Bundle has a great monthly subscription service that lets you get a ton of video games every single month? That's right, from plans range from $5 to $20 a month, you get a hold of a bunch of free games they have available to you. And you could use our code down in the description below to go and sign up. It would help our podcast and help you see what great games are available for you this month.
This podcast was a production of the SWW Show. To learn more, go to theswwshow.com. Remember, you can follow the show on Twitter at the SWW Show. You can follow me at Mikey_Maroney. You can follow AJ at LowSeatBoy. Remember, new episodes premiere on Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time on anchor.fm/SWW and podcast services around the globe.